Hey, very quick context before I leave you with Albert's testimonial and case study. This format is a bit different than just a 2 minutes video testimonial or even a 20 minutes interview. Albert Ramos is a fractional CFO and finance consultant for wellness, fitness, and halo brands. And he's been implementing our podcast to clients playbook and rapidly got some absolutely crazy results. He's presented the journey and those results during one of our private mastermind sessions, but he gave us the authorization to share the session here as well. So you'll see the whole shebang, slides, questions from the members. Voices and names have been blurred out, obviously, for privacy reasons, but you can clearly see Albert and myself. And with that, I'll leave you with Albert's case study. Today is a bit particular. We have a first guest speaker ever, and one of the very first member of the community as well, Albert, who's going to walk us through his case study on how he's made this whole thing work for his podcast. And then we can do a hot seat session. You can introduce them yourself then, and we can get the help of everybody to maybe get you unlocked wherever you are at. Albert, the floor is yours, man.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I'm here in good old the country of Texas. I mean, the state of Texas, Houston, Texas. And so I'm going to go through a presentation here to walk through some of the cool stuff that has happened. I'm so grateful, one, to be here with you all, and grateful to know G, because he's definitely helped the business in my life a lot in so many different ways, including this piece. So let me put this in presenter mode. You all can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So I'll just run through this and kind of go through a little bit about myself, and then kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what the heck just happened after going through a mastermind like this, and then finally ask or answer any questions you may have. And then, of course, there's a link in here that you can find me directly at on LinkedIn. It's typically where I'm spending a lot of time, or email, and you could always just reach out if you think of something later, or you just want to connect. I love to network. I love to connect, and I love to help. So please, if you think you're bugging or something, or I don't know, do that. Bug me then. So I am Albert Ramos. I'm the owner and founder of Stratego. It's a fractional CFO firm where I focus on the health, wellness, and fitness space, or what we like to call the halo economy, which is your health, active lifestyle, and outdoors as well. I've been doing it for the last 8 years. I come from 16 years worth of time in the space in corporate America. For those that know Lifetime, Gold's Gym, 24-Hour Fitness, those were kind of my corporate America routes. Prior to that, believe it or not, I worked for Extreme Makeover Home Edition. I'm a Southern California born and raised. So I had a lot of time in the entertainment industry, that being one of them, MTV, as well as, yes, my family was on Family Feud, and we had a good time. We beat the other family, and then my dad blew it. We didn't win the extra money. So we'll never let that go. And we like to give them a hard time. So yeah, so just a couple things here. My target audience, or my ICP, or some people call it avatar, I focus really around that sweet spot of 500K in annual revenue to about 30 million in annual revenue. Typically past that point, organizations, franchisors, franchisees, business owners, or organizations have some type of head of finance or CFO. So I come in, some have called it a consulting CFO, an interim CFO, and yes, the hot term nowadays is the fractional CFO, or fractional executive. And as I mentioned, it's in the fitness, wellness, and halo industry. What I offer, there's quite a bit of things, and you can see it on the website. You have accounting and bookkeeping, as well as cash management, or the controller side of things, or treasury. And then I also spend a lot of time on cash flow forecasting. I do own another company called Valisites, which actually has positioned me not only to be in this niche, but AI and finance combining to make decisions a lot quicker, a lot faster. So I use AI to build out cash flow forecasts, KPI dashboards, and then a little bit deeper when it comes to your P&L and balance sheet, so that owners know what the heck is going on. And finally, what I really like doing is getting in front of banks and getting yeses, and then also capital raising and prepping for that. All right. I am the host of the now called Owner Seat podcast, which there's a lot to uncover there. So yes, switching gears, I wanted to discuss what I was doing prior to meeting G and getting into the mastermind group. And there's been so much great content. Actually, I refer back to it quite a bit, all my little snippets and notes that I make on many of these calls. I'm sure you all are doing the same, but it really does work. Here's what I was doing before. Valisites was the AI powered SaaS company that I own. And Stratego, as I mentioned, was fractional CFO. And what I would do is I would actually layer in Valisites when I was modernizing a company's tech stack if they needed it. I really like the name Valisites. It's obviously speaks a lot about AI. So I thought, you know what, that could be my platform for my public conversations using this podcast. So I called it the Valisites podcast, which I thought it was a good idea. I got in about 31 episodes deep, and it was around 8-month process. However, it really didn't generate a lot. Now, I tried being the CFO person that I am. I try to keep costs fairly low, but it was very time consuming. So I guess costs were high in that sense, but it really wasn't generating anything. And what I thought it was doing was just creating awareness, and it would lead to something in the future, right? And I could have easily just sat in that place and waited and waited and waited. It was a very company focused type of approach, obviously with the title and everything that I was doing. And I would really focus a lot of my guests, they're amazing, by the way, but a lot of my guests were finance executives that were playing in the AI space or vice versa. So it was very focused on thought leadership versus ICP, right? Versus my target audience. And the other thing about it was I was only hosting, I guess, or delivering my podcast in a couple places. I'm a LinkedIn fanatic, and I don't like any other social media. And as much as people tell me to go on TikTok or Insta or whatever, I like LinkedIn, and that's, it's just that's a enough overwhelming doom scrolling that I need in my life. I don't need the other stuff. So I'm on LinkedIn, and then of course, so that you had the visual as well, I put it on YouTube. But that was it. So then I came on the mastermind group, spent time with G. We actually had an opportunity, and I still think I've convinced him to come to the promised land of Houston, Texas. We'll see where that goes. But we had an opportunity to have a couple large pizzas and maybe a couple beers, but had a good time. And so we started to chat about his philosophy and what he and the team do. And then again, going over my notes of the mastermind. And I started to put these things in play, and it really got exciting. And so I rebranded. I remember asking G this, G, can I, like, just in the middle of all this, 33 episodes in, can I change the name? He was like, of course. And he actually demonstrated, and he's done it on these calls. He demonstrated to me what they have done, what his team has done around his multiple podcasts, which, by the way, are some of the top highest ranking podcasts out there for those fields. And so I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I'll rebrand it. We went through, like, what should it be called? Who's your ICP? Their owners, the owner seat. I'm like, I love that. So we call it the owner seat. Notice it says season 2. One day I'll drop that. And actually I'll get to that story in a little bit. That will be dropped here in a bit. And then we also have this deep conversation again after these mastermind conversations, like, why ICP? Like, why do I want them? They're not necessarily the experts. They have certain pain points that I'm solving for. Why would anyone want to listen to that? And then it just clicked: authenticity, relatability, emotional pull. And then, of course, from a business aspect, the business model, I have them right in front of me to build a relationship and promote them. And so I started to follow the steps, which I'll get here in a little bit, around getting them on the show, during the show, and then the post follow-up pieces. And I followed what we've been going over on this mastermind to a T, and I just couldn't believe it, what occurred after. So now this podcast, The Owner Seat, you'll find it on YouTube, yes, my favorite, LinkedIn. But I also use the hosting platform called Captivate, as G puts it out there, and he's had it on slides, by the way. And now it's going everywhere. It's going to Apple Podcasts. I'm a Samsung guy, so I am the green texter. But there's people that like their Apples too, so it goes to all the Apple users, and then there's Spotify and Amazon. And although I wasn't really into all of the vanity metrics and impressions and downloads and all that, it significantly rose. Obviously, it's a numbers game. But here's the cool thing that ended up happening. And actually, before I get to that point, one of the things that G mentioned to me around as we were going through the funnel, right, top of funnel, is what is that thing that you can offer for those that follow Gary V or G, right? What are you offering that's valuable, but can bring people to you and it doesn't cost you anything? So I created what we all call lead magnets, right? That people actually want, my ICP actually wants, not something general finance and AI, but something that can solve their pain points. And then creating an email drip campaign, which I never did. And this is actually, I think he might have given me a couple nudges or so in person, but actually creating a email drip campaign and seeing where that went. Last thing here is everything is trackable, from not only the UTMs, but the Calendly piece. And the amount of times that I hear people that get on a call with me that say, I so appreciate that you created what I call healthy tension points. I so appreciate that because I really understood what you do and that you take this really seriously. I'm like, that's so weird. That's exactly what G told me, like was whispering in my ear and why I needed to do this. And literally it was on our mastermind. I just replicated everything that he showed us here, and it's been working. The other good thing is those that aren't serious about it, I know they probably go on that link on my LinkedIn or wherever they're finding me. There's multiple ways to get into my calendar if you're consuming my content. But I bet you they give up after like question 2. And I like that. If they're not serious about it, they're not in front of me. So there you go. Oh, there's G. Look at that. Supported by. Yes, he was. WhatsApp, text, calls, church, all of it. I'm saying it. He was everywhere. All right.
Quick question about on this, maybe for specifically, but other people might be asking themselves the same question. So just to be clear, we've discussed with Albert, he participated in all the masterminds, but he did all this by himself. So I also want to stress the point that he just took action and did the stuff. Maybe something that's going to be interesting, Albert, is how did you convince, when you made that switch to focus on the ICP, how did you get those first few guests on the show, although the previous interviews weren't necessarily relevant or they would not necessarily see the points? So how do you get an ICP on the show as a guest?
Yeah, so a couple different ways. You had it on a mastermind one day. You had a pretty robust list of tools. And I remember we chatted about it. And I'm an extreme personality. You gave me like a couple, like just focus on these 2, and I went after all 9. And many of them are actually free, which was really cool. I had no idea. I've always used to the Zoom info, which costs a fortune. Some of us might be investing there, and it is good. It does. It costs a lot of money. I've also used Sales Navigator. So I use tools to be able to identify those ICPs. And I think that's number one. And now I have a deck. I mean, I document everything. Is who is my ICP? Like really spending time there and getting to that core. Like who are they? That's why people call them avatars, right? It's like, who is that avatar? Tell me who they are. How much money do they spend? Where do they work? Where are they at? And so I did that. And then I built those tools around it to reach out to them. So I would do it myself. I would direct message them on LinkedIn, and I would follow a format that G put together. Very rarely, although this is changing, and I'll talk about it here soon, was on the email drip, but that did generate some as well. So all of it was direct outreach, and of course, there's going to be people that are not interested. There's going to be people that don't respond. And I always say, and I posted about this, you send them a direct message on LinkedIn and they have their little profile. So I know you looked at it and it breaks my heart. You don't even respond to me. How rude. So, you'll see that too. And it's just part of being a business owner or an entrepreneur, just, a lot of the verbal rejection or passive rejection. And but when you're focusing on your ICP and you have some type of, at this point, some type of credibility, whether that's your in my case, LinkedIn profile resume that's on there that's readily available, or my lead magnet tool, which kind of strengthens the credibility, or some episodes, they're okay, but at least a little bit of extra points on the credibility, you're going to get people that want to chat. The big one about this all is people really want to be able to promote their brand and talk about what they're up to and talk about themselves. I think that's pretty natural. So we give them a platform, but it's all relationship based. It's not, I've really followed that with G. That was some of my big questions is how do we make sure this is not a transactional thing, which I'll get to here in a sec. So here are the results in this very short period of time. So I mentioned credibility or authority, but within that targeted network group, I'm a big cast a wide net. I've always been like that for some reason, even like in schooling. It's like, let's just throw everything on the plate. I'm realizing everything that I read about some of these successful businesses about niching, it's just so true. What are we the gal or guy of? And that's what I really wanted to focus on is what am I personally the guy of? And mine is I'm the fractional CFO in the wellness and fitness space, right? So I really got very obsessed in targeting the ICP or targeted audience. And that's how I base, booking calls and the volume and engagement and all conversations. And so you can see that today on the LinkedIn, there's different things that I do, whether it's the LinkedIn newsletter to obviously the owner seat to the free lead magnet, the free, I call it CFO playbook for wellness and fitness owners. And then obviously everything else that you see on my LinkedIn. And then I post about it. I typically post every day, sometimes twice a day, even when people tell me to stop. That's okay. I don't mind. They're not posting at all. So I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, so I'm posting just about every day, commenting, and I do have some support, which I'll talk about here in a sec as well. So there I am with my beats, always wearing the hat. And again, another. So here are the results on just this two and a half. I think actually it's a little less than that, but we'll call it 2.5 months. But I did 20 interviews. If you remember, I did 38 over 8 months. I did 20 over 2.5 months, and this generated 6 clients. And I actually have 2. I use this thing called account group. I have 2 in the pipeline or in a proposal process, and so they're just sifting through, making sure this is what they want to do, and they're ready to rock. And I'll show you my. Actually, I don't know if my pricing is on here, just to give you an idea, right? From these 20 interviews, 6 confirmed clients over 2 months. My cycle, what I call the conversion cycle, significantly improved too. So it wasn't just about getting clients. It was using this platform, targeting ICP, and actually in a very sensitive topic of finance and money. Typically, it takes a little bit longer to get people to pay what I charge, which is typically $6,900, $8,900 a month, a monthly retainer, and every now and then a $3,900, which drops the average a little lower. So it's dropped a little bit to about 4,500 because I have opened it up for those that want 3,900 as well. And so you can see here the value that this has created, right? Very minimal cost. It was just positioning. It wasn't about adding a massive amount of cost. Although I will say I've also made an investment here, which I'll chat about in a little bit, because we're going to turn this on tenfold. So yes, these clients that recently signed on were averaging around 4,500 a month, and typically I say it's around 4.5, some are 3, but up to like 6-ish. In this case, the value of all of this from just tweaking these little things, I now can project over $108,000 in revenue and sales revenue alone just right here. And this is going to continue. And so I'm really excited about that. So here's what's next. Yes, all about the rinse, lather, and repeat, right? So I'm just going to continue to do what works, right? So rather than, and I remember talking to G about this. I just want to do maybe one a week, maybe one a month. And I know he loves Alex Hormozy, so we're going through that. I'm watching the videos. I love it. I'm getting on the mastermind. I'm like, well, if I know it works, why wouldn't I do more of it? So that's what I'm going to do. I've decided, I've committed. I'm going to do more of what works. I'm going to go from 6 to 8 to 16 episodes a month. Will that require maybe dropping the length of time? Probably, so I don't get exhausted, right? But so I'm going to go to 16. We'll do probably an average of 30 minutes. Typically, I do long form, so I'm used to about an hour, hour and a half. God bless the people that want to come on my show. I'm a talker, and or I like to ask a lot of questions. And then the other thing I decided to do here, right? And as I was building this, G didn't tell me to do this. I want to say, and I'm proud to say, and am honored to say, I decided, well, if I really want to get serious about this, I need to hire the best. And I bet, and he knows this. I'm very creative, and I take my sweet time when it's about spending money. So I vetted, which is another reason I was on the masterminds. We chatted a ton. I'm picking his brain and his partner's brain and his team's brain. And I decided this is a no-brainer. And so I decided to invest in GHA marketing as well. So they'll be taking this off my plate, which is good because I want my wife to continue to love me and stay with me and my kids to like me. I want to be around more and offer being a better husband and dad because I love this stuff. And I know me, I can really spend a lot of time doing this, especially as I know now that it works. So my objective here, and we're going to get there, is this will be over $1 million, a multi-million-dollar fractional CFO firm. Will that require to replicate what I do? Of course, and that's already in set. And I do have some additional firepower on the Stratego and Balisite side, but this will be a multi-million-dollar fractional CFO firm. And just wanted to say thank you for G and his team's support. It's been great. So yes, the reason why GHA and the reason why we'll continue to do this is close more deals. I want the business to grow, and I want to impact more companies so that they survive and they don't lead to some of the decisions that are rough. For any of you that knows any entrepreneurs, there are those entrepreneurs, and it's actually highly likely that they file for bankruptcy, they run out of cash, and it impacts their livelihoods or their families because they personally guaranteed everything, or they used a HELOC and home loan. And then what's next in AI and finance? There's a lot to answer there, but I'll be spending time on value things that I can do to create more of an ecosystem, including most recently cloning my voice and having an agent that is me, in a sense, a digital twin 24/7, which is scraping everyone's accounting data so they have access to digital Albert whenever they want. And then finally, that's my family. So it's my wife, Danielle, on the left-hand side, Jameson, who's 8. He's my math whiz. I got Henry, the mailman's kid, looks nothing like me. And then finally, my beautiful daughter. And then I went straight to the doctor after. But my beautiful daughter, who runs the whole house, she's 3. She's Charlotte Rose.
Well done.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So this is how you can learn more about me. This is my partners page, and you can see kind of the rest of the website there if you want to catch me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there, although, as I said, I'm going to try to limit myself more moving forward. But obviously, I love this, so I'll be very involved. All right. So some Q&A. Any questions? Thank you for your time, by the way. Thanks for listening. Yes, please. Hi.
This is
You're on mute.
Oh, can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me?
Yeah.
Got me. Thanks. Albert, really nice presentation. I love the fact that it was short and succinct. Really learned a lot. I've been taking copious notes.
Oh, good.
We talked, and then I have a podcast. I've done 3 seasons. We've done okay, but I haven't been able to monetize it as well as you are demonstrating here. But they were good and quick ideas, and I love the fact that stay in your niche. I have a podcast for women, and sometimes I have things on that have nothing to do with women leadership because I just kind of like it. But stay in my niche. But I have a couple of questions. What is Captivate?
Yeah, so it's funny. I had the same question when she was like, "Are you on Captivate?" I'm like, a hosting site, RSS feeds. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? I just know YouTube and maybe some Spotify. And so Captivate, and G, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is a hosting platform that distributes your episode, audio or visual, to these other podcast platforms. So when it's funny, I was learning about what download and listening all mean, but let's just say you're on Apple Podcasts. That's probably in a lot of cases being fed from a different hosting platform.
Got it. I totally get that. I'm with somebody called RSS.com, and they've done a good thing. So my podcast is everywhere from Amazon to Apple, Spotify, and it costs a fair minimum amount to keep them in place.
Yeah.
I also record on Riverside.
Me too. Yeah, I love Riverside.
I love Riverside.
And the editing that you can do is amazing.
Yeah, the editing you can do right there. Okay, and then I have my other question is, why GHA and what do they do?
Yeah, so G and Assam, they own an organization called GHA. I'll tell you, speaking of being niche and very focused, there was a lot of other organizations that I saw on LinkedIn. Actually, if you go and kind of scroll through my posts, I actually just posted it out there publicly, what I was looking for. And I just really liked, one, there is credibility because they do it themselves. There's a lot of people out there, I'll tell you, that say they're great.
This is LinkedIn. RG? Is his company?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now keep going.
So there's a lot of people that I was vetting that say they do these things, and they happen to be like the LinkedIn experts and the influencers. But then you really look at them like, where is it though? I don't see them doing these things, although they're saying they're going to help others do it. And I'm not saying that the coach has to be necessarily a player. I just appreciated that G and Assam and GHA are also players too, not just coaching, but they're in the mix doing it themselves, and they do it a lot. I get my notification of G going on live like every single day, all throughout the day. I'm like, this guy's doing it. He understands that they're testing it. I respect that. And they move very fast and are very, very organized. I appreciate that too. So yeah, I think there's a lot of different variables for sure.
Are they reasonably priced?
They are actually.
He says no.
Very expensive. Very
expensive. Okay.
No, very reasonably priced. I was very excited about that. And then again, you know me, I'm always doing kind of the ROI. It's a massive multiplier for sure. So it's too. I even, you know, going back, and not to get too personal, but I went through it around just the time I'm spending. I mean, it's just a no-brainer in so many different ways. And I will say, from a pricing perspective, they charge the right amount, but I, you know, not for me, don't charge more. I'm just saying they could charge more if they wanted to.
Yeah. And my last question, I'm sorry everybody, but my last question is, I'm not quite sure if I'm understanding ICP. The word, what are they? I'm not sure what that is, even if you spoke.
Your customer, I think it's your, I don't know if it's identified or individual customer persona. So it's your target audience. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Some people call it avatar nowadays. I think that's like the marketing term is what's their avatar? What's their
yeah. And I have that down pat. All right. So I'm finished, guys. Next question.
Thank you for the question.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We see you move the lips, but I don't know if you're on mute. So I don't know if you speak to us. I have a quick one whilst you figure this out. Albert, can you walk us through, and I think that will be of interest for some people and for sure watching the recording as well. How do you handle from the interview to a sale? Can you walk us through how you make that happen? Because just to be clear, guys, 6 out of 20 is insane. Like, do not expect this. This is completely an outlier. But so, Albert, you know something that we don't. So how do you make that happen?
No, we do know. I just followed what you had been chatting about. I just wasn't taking the time to correct. So I started to sprinkle in questions that you've shared around discovery. So I put that into the podcast questions, right? Not necessarily direct, it's very indirect, but I'm gathering information about their business as they're wanting to speak about it publicly within reason, right? Obviously, financials can get very sensitive there. The other thing about this whole experience is you have them on a call. It's one of the hardest things to do is just get people in front of you, right? So you have them in front of you. And so what a great opportunity to learn more about them pre and post episode, meaning actually hitting record. I do record. I could do it live. I personally like live. It's from a development and communication piece, but many I'm finding don't necessarily like that. So it's okay. So I pivoted a little there. I'm still thinking about changing that, but we'll see. So I do have them after the show and we're chatting through about them. And typically what happens is, hey, by the way, so tell me more about Stratego. What do you do? Like, how do you help people? And one of the scripts, if you want to call it, I don't have necessarily it typed out, but I let them know, you know what, I'm running a bit late for another call, but let's set up another call so that we can chat through that. I'd love to go through what I do. And so if you don't do that, life happens, business happens, just you start to drift, right? And as much as they're posting for you and you got all the marketing assets going, it's awesome, getting all these views and impressions, that important conversation just never takes place because things just happen. People get busy. But when you get a commitment right there, especially when they're feeling valued, seen, and heard, and motivated, getting it on the books right then and there. I wasn't doing that in past, and that's something that I learned here. And it's funny, I grew up back in the day in sales, back in the day, and it just hasn't changed. It's when people are very motivated and on a high about whatever's going on right then and there, that's a great opportunity to just get that next commitment and get it on the books, and it's been working.
Well, hey, let me pose a question to you then. I mean, if you have somebody who's interested, and obviously you've talked to them briefly right after you're done, do you allocate an extra plan in your day, a 15-minute block that you should take advantage and strike when the iron's hot? If you take the risk, in my opinion, in all my business of 50 years I've been doing it, You never want to give them too long of a gap between
Yeah.
when you have them interested to when you communicate, because they may have things that come up on their mind. You're
Sure.
not front of mind anymore. Now you're, oh yeah, I saw that guy's podcast. Maybe I should take that call versus I'm on his podcast.
Yeah.
Let's do the call, because the momentum you'll have right then is far higher in acceptance. And I've learned that in my 50 plus years of doing business. If you have an opportunity, so why not allocate in your time that extra 15 minutes to have it?
Yeah.
They don't know that. They don't know.
You're
But
so
you know.
spot on, and that does happen. That's actually I think it was like 2 of the 6 it happened that way, where they wanted to see the website right then and there, or whatever I was going to present to them. Typically, I've done a lot of my homework leading up to this.
Right.
I do use a lot of AI, whether it's their LinkedIn profile, articles, website. I have some GPTs that I've created to get to that, and I've always been good at things sticking short term. So I'm literally talking to my little AI right before the show, so I know everything about them and their business and what have you.
Good.
But yeah, right. If the opportunity presents itself to strike then and there, absolutely, to have the conversation, and you'll typically have a good feel through
Right.
that episode and thereafter what type of person they are. And it's typically the direct, like, let's just chat business. This was amazing. Like, let's tell me more about you. Like, I need you. Boom, done. Right.
Yep.
And we're good to go.
If you're familiar with the DISC model,
Yes.
you're an I all day long. So you would have to make sure that you incorporate your style, and you wouldn't want to be with an analytical person, even though you're in the world of finance.
Yeah.
But because that could be a dicey discussion. But the D's
Give me the D's and the C's again, because it's funny. I was in a huge room the other day. We were doing like development training, and like my heart was I, but it was the command.
Well, the reason they put the letter I, the original one was DECS, DECS.
Okay.
Stanford University. When these guys privatized it and turned it into DISC, they put the letter I in there, because if you listen to this podcast you've given to us today, 1/4 of the words you use are the letter I.
Yeah. But it's funny. My heart
All
goes
about
to
you,
I.
Albert. I like it.
My heart goes to I, but the other one, my brain wants to go. I forget which one is like the command leader. Is that the D? Yeah, to like be direct and like.
Yeah.
I guess I'm not the leather jacket. I'm not that as much as I want to be. I'm not.
That's all right, man. That's great. I love it. My only other question, then let's turn it back to the group. You have what it appears to be right now, good momentum going, and you're opening up and expanding in a lot of different areas that Guillaume's helped you with and his partner. What active role, how much time do you have to spend with Guillaume and his team every week? What's your time consumption, strategizing, implementing, etc.?
Yeah, so they're super organized because of a different way. G, do you mind if I share? Is that okay? Okay, I just want to make sure. So they're readily available on Slack, which I'm familiar with, which is great. And then they have different tools so that there's just a healthy, I would call tech hygiene of making sure my LinkedIn's attached, YouTube and all of that. So very, very professional.
They manage it, right? They manage that. You don't have to get involved in that.
Yeah. So it's been once a week with some chatter in between if they need something. So I'll get the notification. And again, it's just they have Notion. That's the other one. I'm familiar with Notion. I don't use it too much. I haven't passed, but it's very easy to follow. And then they also, I love this, they also give tutorial videos. Yes, I'm watching them, G and team. I'm watching those, and there's a lot of educational aspect to it. I really appreciate that too. So I've been very impressed. They're already exceeding my expectations, and to know that the founders are also very involved, G and Assam, that's a big one for me. I like that.
You had already started your whole venture on this, and then you integrated over with them, so you were familiar with the process.
Familiar with the process.
For someone like me, and some maybe the other people on this, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a guest on like 8 podcasts. I sent Guillaume, I have 5 people this week who want me on their podcast. I'm going, shit. I mean, what's going on? Does everyone know now it's podcast season or something? But regardless of that, the issue is I don't have that foundational background. I don't have all the connectors between everything, and I don't want to find it out at this point in my life. I want to do it. So
I would highly recommend that.
That was a question I had, was, are they able to basically you guys come to a meeting of the minds and they take it from there. And basically all I have to do is book people and talk. That's what I don't want to have
Yeah,
to.
it's actually, I put that on my slide. I said, just do the fun stuff. I just want to show up and love the one I with. That's all I want to do.
There you go.
Right. And so, yes, they take care of all of that. And you just think the time it is, and I'm using a lot of AI. So I feel like I'm pretty dang efficient. I can't imagine if it was all done manual.
Right.
So it does take a lot of time because we all care, right? We put in a lot of time because we want it to be good quality. One thing I do like about GHA that just everything is about protecting the brand, from color palette to brand logo to that is a big thing. So as I heard that before, and now that I'm seeing it live, partnering up with them, I'm like, okay, I feel great about that because that is so important nowadays, even more so. You just have to protect your personal and your organization's brand.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Great questions. Thank you.
Any other questions, guys, on anything? I appreciate you speaking about GHA, Albert. But like anything, the process, what Albert went through, what he did. Any other questions?
Nope.
Thanks for your
All right.
time. This was fun.
Thank you so much, Albert.